Today, we're going to journey back in time to an age where fire and chant and sacrifice weren't just acts of faith. They were seen as a kind of technology, a way to actually shape reality itself. We are diving deep into the profound and, often shocking secrets of the Yajur Veda.
So let's just start with this truly radical idea. The ancient seers, you see, they didn't just worship the universe. They believed they were its co-engineers. These rituals, the yajnas, were thought of as these intricate cosmic machines. And their purpose? Well, it was to help the sun finish its cycle, to assist the moon in its phases, to literally keep the entire universal order running. Just think about that for a second.
So what is a yagna really? At its most basic, it's a selfless offering made into fire. But it's so much more than that. It was the central operating system of Vedic life, a kind of sacred transaction connecting our human world to divine energies. Through the yagna, they believed they could purify themselves and, most importantly, uphold what they called rita, the fundamental harmony of the entire cosmos. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. This ritual technology, it actually fueled one of the greatest societal shifts in ancient history. You can think of it almost like a complete software update for an entire civilization, taking it from one way of living to something entirely new. And this table, it just lays out the change so clearly. The early Rig-Vedic people, they were semi-nomadic cattle herders in the Punjab region. Wealth was counted in cows, and their main god was the warrior, Indra. But the Yajur Veda captures this massive migration eastward into the super fertile Gangetic plains. And this is where iron tools, what they called Shama Ayas, completely changed the game. They led to huge surpluses of rice and wheat. This new abundance created settled kingdoms with powerful hereditary rulers. And naturally, the focus of worship shifted to Prajapati, the creator god, who was a perfect symbol for this new, ordered, and structured world.
But, this new order, it came at a serious cost, especially for women. In that earlier Rig-Vedic world, women held a much higher status. They could be sages, known as rishikas, who actually composed hymns that became part of the sacred scriptures. They took part in public life. They often chose their own husbands. But as society became more layered and focused on agriculture, their roles became more and more restricted. They were largely confined to the home, they were denied sacred rights, and their public voice, it just faded away.
Now, that huge societal transformation wasn't the only major drama going on. The Yajur Veda itself wasn't just one single book. It was actually born from a very human, very high-stakes conflict, a legendary fallout that split this sacred knowledge into two completely different paths.
And at the center of this incredible story are two absolute titans. First, you have Rishi Vaishampayana, a legendary guru. And then there's his most brilliant student, Yajnavalkya, a man with a massive intellect, but also, as the story goes, a massive amount of pride. And a quarrel erupted between them, a clash of wills that would literally change the course of Vedic history.
In a flash of anger, Vaishampayana delivered a devastating command. He ordered his student to give back every single piece of knowledge he had ever been taught. You have to understand, a guru's command is absolute. It's a spiritual debt that has to be repaid no matter what.
And what happened next? Well, it's one of the most shocking and visceral moments in the entire Vedic tradition. In a profound act of surrender, Yajnavalkya literally vomited out the Veda as a kind of abstract substance. His guru then told his other students to transform themselves into partridge birds or tittery so they could consume this disgorged wisdom.
Now, this consumed knowledge, that became one branch of the Veda. But what about Yajnavalkya? He was now a completely empty vessel. So how did this lead not to an end, but to an incredible new beginning? What secret was just about to be revealed?
And this is the absolute key. The knowledge that was pecked up by those titiri birds became the Krishna, or the black, Yajur Veda. It's called black because the sacred mantras and their explanations are all mixed together, a bit like the substance it came from. But Yajnavalkya, having now given up all human teachers, prayed directly to the sun god, Surya. And Surya appeared as a brilliant white horse and gave him a brand new, pure revelation. This became the Shukla, or the white Yajur Veda, which is celebrated for its perfect, clean structure, with the mantras neatly separated from the explanations.
You see, this split wasn't just about organizing a text. It was a signal of a huge philosophical shift. The fire of the external ritual, the yajna, was about to be turned inward, and this sparked an absolute explosion of insight that we now know as the Upanishads. And from this inner fire came maybe the most powerful statement in all of Eastern philosophy, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am the ultimate reality. The secret was out. The individual self, the Atman, was not some separate little thing. It was identical to the ultimate reality of the cosmos, Brahman. They were one. The universe wasn't something you had to manage from the outside anymore. It was something to be realized from within.
And this inner quest, it's captured so perfectly by Yajnavalkya's own wife, Maitreyi. When he was about to renounce the world, he offered to split his worldly wealth between his two wives. And she asked him this soul-shaking question. It's the ultimate pivot point, isn't it? From the material to the eternal, from what we own to what we know.
And the Upanishads, connected to the Yajur Veda, are just this treasure chest of wisdom. The Brihadaranyaka teaches that you find your true self by saying neti neti, not this, not that, peeling away everything you are not. The Isha tells us that true enjoyment of the world actually comes through renunciation. The Taittiriya gives us a map of our own consciousness through 5 layers, or koshas. Each one is like a different key, unlocking the same ultimate truth.
Okay, so you might be thinking, this is fascinating ancient stuff, but does this old fire have any spark for me today? And the answer is absolutely, because the big secret is that those grand external rituals can be translated into powerful personal practices for our own lives right now.
You can actually distill the essence of those giant fire sacrifices into a really simple home practice called Agnihotra. It's just a short daily ritual, usually done at sunrise and sunset. By making these small offerings into a fire while you chant, what you're really doing is symbolically offering up your ego, your worries, your actions to a higher purpose. It's about purifying your mind and your own personal space.
But the yajna can be even bigger, even more metaphorical. Your daily work, that can be your offering. That's karma yoga. The way you speak to people, that can be a carefully tended fire. Your charity, your focus, your relationships, all of it can be transformed into a sacred yajna, turning your entire life into a conscious, meaningful ritual.
And that really brings us full circle to the final transcendent wisdom of the Yajur Veda. What it does is it maps out a complete journey for the human spirit, starting with structured action in the world and ending in profound awakening within your own self.
So the crucial point is this. All the elaborate rituals, the precise chants, the sacred fires, they are all tools. They're a ladder. And they're incredibly useful for climbing, for giving discipline and structure to the mind. But once you reach the top, once you have realized that profound, unshakable truth that you are one with everything, you don't need the ladder anymore.
And this leaves us with a final, really challenging question. The ultimate yajna, the final offering we have to make into the fire, is the ego itself. So in our modern world, a world that is so obsessed with identity, with ambition, with the self, is that a sacrifice we're actually prepared to make? Is that a price we're willing to pay for the ultimate truth? That is the timeless question the Yajur Veda leaves for every single one of us to ponder.